This is Bringing the Darkness to the Light with Catherine Nadal, professional psychic medium.
Today's guest is Giancarlo Floridia, singer and songwriter known for his work with Frontiers Music. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Yo!
Thank you so much for doing the show. I want the audience to know that you and I got to meet in person, actually. We were recently at the NAMM event this past week, and I had the pleasure of seeing you play live. And that was at the Grand Theater in Anaheim. That was really cool. That was kind of like what I called it like an Ace Frehley tribute in some sort of a way. But there was a lot done there to do a shout out to Ace and Ace's career. Yeah. You were really flanked by some amazing artists that night. So you were in very good company. So I just want to start out and just have you share that experience.
It was surreal for a couple reasons. Todd Howarth is like one of my favorite singer-songwriters of all time. I was an 80s kid, so I would watch that Fraley's Comet VHS all the time growing up. And all his songs I loved, especially the first one's great, but I really loved his stuff on Second Sighting, the second record. And to just be playing with them and harmonizing with them and all that was like my childhood dream. And it was really cool. And then on the one song, I had to get on the drums because the drummer got stuck on the freeway. And so that was quite, and we were going to rip it out. And I'm like, no, I've got this. Because, I've heard the live version of it so many times from when I was a kid. And I'm a solid enough drummer. I can get through songs. But there's that middle break section where I'm like, I ain't even going for the Anton Fig section. We'll count it. I'll hit the parts. And I got through it, but I added double kick at the end. I'm going to add double kick. And it was cool with no rehearsal. And just to get it through it. And Todd at the end was like, thinking of something like, that wasn't too bad. It was a rock and roll thing. And I didn't want to drop that song from the set. It just made no sense. So I did my part.
Well, let me tell you, it was amazing. And I was so glad that I actually had my camera out and I recorded what Todd had said about, his own personal dedication to Ace and how Ace really changed his trajectory of his career. And it was so heartfelt. It was just so amazing. And then also another friend of mine was there, Marco Mendoza, and he really rocked it out too. That he's always got so much energy.
It was a good show.
Yeah. Oh, it was really, really tremendous. I want to circle back though, because I've been watching a lot about you and learning more and more about you. And there's one thing I have to say, I have so much respect for songwriters. Even growing up, I always found myself like writing poetry. And I wanted to ask you a question because in many interviews you've said, I was just a teenager riding my bicycle and listening to these songs and, like a regular kid. But do you ever think that if you could rewrite the lyrics on a particular song when you were growing up that you would have changed it to something? It's an interesting question,
From the original versions of the song?
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean. So I have a technique that I've used for a while now. I don't usually tell people, but now that I'm established, I can just tell everybody. I call it like every line has to rhyme. So sometimes I'll get stuck and I'll re-look over the lyrics because I'll review things, verse 1, verse 2. And we all have this assumption that it always has to rhyme in a Dr. Seuss type of thing. So if one line is do, it's got to be you, through, view. It all needs to match the line after the line. So you don't have to do that. And one of my things is I always think that way when I'm stuck. Instead of going, I have to do it this way. Music, songwriting, specifically to me as art, especially the words. So if you can emotionally, I just say, I'm stuck. How do I feel? So instead of going do, I go, whoa, I'll change it. You know what I mean? So it does have that same pattern. I think a lot of people assume you always have to have that pattern. So in terms of changing things, I'll hear that sometimes. Like, what if they would have just put I'm not going to name any bands, but What if they would have just put a better lyric there? Like you could tell they were just trying to make it rhyme. So there's a little songwriter tip for y'all cats up there that are trying to get it rolling. It's a I saw this thing with James Brown where I think it's his movie where or something where they were like, well, that's not technically correct. And he's like, does it feel good? Yeah, it does. Well, then there it is. So I kind of have that concept with my songwriting lyricism. Does it feel right? Does it emotionally fit? And if that's there, that's there. So yeah, I would change a few lyrics that I hear sometimes, to say the least.
My follow up question to that is, do you find personally that it's easier to write like love ballads, or do you find that you find some songs, the faster, the harder, the more kind of rock or metal sounding easier? Or is it random for you?
That's a good question. And I'm the most honest way I can put it for me personally. If I have a great concept, it's much easier for me to write the song. Once I'm locked in with the concept, it's like I know this is where I'm going, I get it done quicker. So let's say, okay, Erase off Lynch Mob, the first song off of Babylon. George had some ideas about he needed a song about Gabriel was at my place and we had finished Caught Up. And then he said, man, George wants this song about kids that are abducted and something bad happens to them and all this and that. He's like, that is, Gabriel just looks at me and goes, that's too far out for me. And the way I grew up, I was like, I can knock that out of the park. I mean, like my upbringing as a kid was real bad and dark and just horrible now that I look back on it in my 40s. So I'm like, I'll get it done. So I reached out to George. I said, hey, George, what's this thing about these kids and what's going on? What is it? And he said, check this out. So he sent me articles based upon, it was like kids in the late 1800s, early 1900s that were like taken from Indian reservations, put in boarding schools to die. So I know that's heavy, but I came up with this concept since I can kind of relate to those kids. How to break out of all that evil. Like you try to down us, but we're going to, and you'll notice that pattern in a lot of my songwriting. Things are rough, things are bad, but we're going to rise up out of this. We're going to try doing better here. And point is the concept of a race was so strong that it's like, boom, I could just write the lyrics. I know where I'm going. I'm locked in on that concept. So those songs to me, no matter what style, I think I move quicker on those songs. So it could be a fast song, but if I know exactly what the concept is, I move faster. Because you got to remember, I'm a melodic guy, but if you listen to my stuff, it has 80s, but the lyrics are not very 80s. The lyrics are for today's world. So once I get on the concept of where I'm going, I'm kind of like full steam ahead.
Yes, well, you're so talented. I'm a huge fan of Lynch Mob and all
Thanks.
of that you've said, and all of them are so great. I can imagine working with George Lynch and Jaron
Yep.
Galino, and I mean, they just
Yep.
have such a great team of guys there. It's just really great. I wanted
Yep.
to circle back around to one other thing that you had said in that is that like you can hear it, but you also are known to play guitar. So you've
Right.
been playing guitar since you were like 12, I read. So playing guitar is really very helpful in songwriting. I can't imagine writing songs without really having a big musical background.
Yeah. I think I get a lot of gigs because I can write. So if you look back on my band Faith's Edge before I was doing the Frontier stuff, I would just write the albums. So I can complete an album honestly and just send it to you if you want me to. So each person needs something different. George Lynch does not need my help with any guitar playing whatsoever. I mean, the guy is my favorite guitar player of all time. So to be able to write 3 albums with him, I did the Sweet and Lynch, Babylon, and then 7 songs or something on 6 or 7 songs on the new one that was just released. So George doesn't need any guitar advice from me. But the top line and the lyrical content and the melodies, I can do that. So if you need me to just do that and call me for that, I can do that. Or if you need lyrics, I can do that. Or if you need guitars, I can do that. Or if you need a complete song, like let's say Robin McCauley's new album, Bloody, Bruised, and Beautiful, that song was completed and ready to go. Robin liked the song. He wanted to add a few lines to it. Boom. Clean break. The stuff on clean break. Done. They just relearned it. Del Vecchio went in and made a few tweaks. So I can either deliver your full song if you need lyrics, if you need vocal lines. It's kind of a cool little gift. What's weird about it is I don't even try. It just kind of happens.
But
Like
that's honestly a gift. Like
yeah.
especially when people say like how do you do what you do and you just say I don't know how I do it. That's how it is for me. I'm a psychic medium. I can't explain how I do it. I just do it. That's when it's kind of like, it's part of your mission in life. You can't explain it. So
It's
you're
a gift to help others. And the realization that it is that helps because I take better care of my voice or things like that. And I'm really grateful for it. It's or like if I can hit a note that's super high, I just kind of I just go. A lot of people can't do that. I can just kind of do it like nothing. And it's like, wow, how did I do that? I don't know. It's all emotion and a feeling and something that I believe God gave me. So I'm trying to utilize it the best I can. So
So you
yeah,
don't
it's
you
nice.
don't just sing high, but you can hold a note. And I saw you do that night, and I was like,
Oh.
he's got to come up for air eventually, right?
Okay, so the technique is like this. People assume, so I use a lot of power, but I'm not like abusing my voice. Okay, so are we allowed to talk vocal technique? Is this all right? Is this boring? Okay, I sing in a regular register. So my main register is kind of like like my main voice kind of to me sounds somewhere across between like Paul Stanley, Jeff Scott Soto, Kip Winger. I have that Janie Lane, that mid-range thing. And then I flip into my falsetto only when I need to, because I sing pretty fairly high without going too high in my regular range. So that way, the only time I'm going into my falsetto is when I'm going, what I just did. I just take a breath and the notes ding, 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 ding. Ah! You know what I mean? Ding, 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 ding. Same thing. Ah! So, you have to hear the note, like when we were playing Love Gun. I really, you pull the trigger of my. I think I went my. I just do it where necessary. Because if you do that all the time, you're bound to destroy your voice. So I always stay on my regular. This is so funny. We're doing like vocal exercises. And I don't think I've done that before in an interview. Understanding the voice. I sit in the regular register because I can sing for hours in my regular register without feeling like worn out. But that screaming, I just use it when I need to because it's not the healthiest thing, but it sounds cool. So I keep it for like my secret weapon, You're using it's like Rambo, you're shooting people and then you pull out the bazooka for the. So I only use the screams and the falsetto when necessary.
Yes, well, I find that this is, first of all, very informative, but it's also very helpful because I'm sure there's a lot of people in our audience that are aspiring singers, and there's been so much attention over the past, I have to say, 20 years on singers. And
Yeah.
it's because of TV shows, like you have The Voice and you have
Yeah.
American Idol. And a lot of people thought that if you were going to sing, you were only in a church choir, a school choir, you were in a band. Nobody really saw it the way it is nowadays. And I think the internet, I mean, there's so many singers on TikTok and all these other things. So the idea
Yeah.
of being a singer, I think has really changed with time. It's really become more creative.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been doing it since I was little. It was a way for me to escape. And it just became where people would be like, "You're good at that." I'm like, well, maybe I should do it more. And then I saw people smiling or laughing. This is so cool. I'm like, guess I'll stick with it. And it never went away.
Yeah. So when you were growing up, we didn't have the internet, right?
No, it was me, and I had a karaoke machine. I had something called the singing machine. The singing machine was you would get these songs redone without the vocals, and you would have a cassette or you would have a CD. And it was all compilations. And it wasn't like now where you can go, I'm going to go online and I got every song there karaoke. You'd have to buy the singing machine. We're getting deep on my history right now. The singing machine. I want one. I need to, I have like retro stuff. I need to find my original singing machine. And the cool thing was you could slow down or speed up the tempos, but you can only pick the CD. Like they didn't have a huge catalog. So I think I had like one with Van Halen, Bon Jovi, Buddy Holly, stuff like that. 10, 11 tracks. And then so you would learn all sorts of singers because it wasn't like Hair Metal Nation CD. It was kind of broken up because this was in the late 80s, early 90s. The singing machine. So I didn't do no pitch shifting. It was the singing machine. It was grudging and beautiful.
That's awesome. Was anyone in your family musical? Did you have anyone?
My uncle is. Well, he's my second uncle. He's in Tim McGraw's band. His name's John Prestia. And I moved to Florida out of California when I was 14. I ran away from home because, it is what it is. And I went to Florida and I met him when I was like 14 or 15, around then. And this guy was my hero. He was like in the Sarasota music scene doing well. But he hadn't got his big break yet. But he was cool. He still, I mean, I know I got my mohawk, but he had cool long hair, and like, this guy's amazing. And he was in like the magazines out there, and he was like a little local legend. And then he broke when Dickie Betts called him. Strange enough, another songwriter in the family. He co-wrote Nobody Left to Run With Anymore off the Cowboy Way movie for the Allman Brothers. And all of a sudden, things really took off for him around my age, in his 40s. And then he's been with Tim McGraw's band. He does tech work for them. He also plays with them. He plays banjo with them. And he's been doing that, I think. I don't know, Uncle John. How long is it? No, maybe, I think over 25 years now. He's my hero. I actually got to hang out with him in Nashville a few years ago, and he took me around everywhere, and he's always supporting me. But I think my Uncle Johnny always has inspired me. So John Prestia, he's amazing. Got a great voice to this day. And he's still doing it in his 70s now.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That
went to go hang
yeah.
out. I was just like, "You're playing?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm playing 2 shows today." I'm like, "Dude, this is going to be me in 30 years. Well, let's keep doing it then."
That's awesome. Yes, that really is great. I wanted to get back to just a couple of things that I find really interesting with you. One thing I
Uh-oh.
have to one thing I have to say is not just from watching your interviews with other people, but meeting you in person. You're so genuine, and you can really tell just in conversations with other people, conversations with me, you're really very engaging, but you really do care about the other person. And I think that's so
Thank you.
profound because when you say that you're a songwriter, and then you meet someone like you, it's so believable that those
Mm.
words that you put on paper really do have meaning and feeling behind them because of the type of person you are that's writing them. To me, that's like the biggest compliment I can give you is because, it's like the proof in the pudding. You
Yeah.
really, your energy that you put out and how you engage with other people is really very reflective in the words that come out of you.
Wow. Thank you. I think one of the reasons I get a lot of songwriting gigs outside of being able to put together a song is what I sing about. I think I'm willing to go a little bit further into my story, into my life, into some really deep stuff. I think a lot of people need help. I think they need lyrics that help them because it's so horrible out there. Whether if it's like Sweet and Lynch leaving it all behind, or even that erase thing, you don't know what people are going through. And I went through so much that I said, if I'm going to do this, I at least want to help others because I want to write lyrics that are going to help somebody. At the end of the day, I want them to get a song and be like, I know exactly what this guy's talking about, and that made my day better. Speaking of, like Todd helped me with the Fraley's Comet stuff, I just wanted to go in my room, put on this album and feel better. So I'm trying to do the same thing now. Like there could be a kid in Europe or in Japan or Canada or in the States or in Brazil that are listening to my songs and you don't know what's going on in their life. So for at that moment, if I could help somebody, that's what it's all about. I have to do that. Why write if I'm going to write songs that are just all about stuff that isn't going to hold up in 20 years? I want to write songs that people can get something more from. And I think that's a part of my secret to my success is having lyrics that are strong that people can relate to. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's what separates me loving the 80s and early 90s sound to me being a taken seriously songwriter. You know what I mean? It's like I've heard bands, I don't name people, but they just do that 80s thing, they're from wherever. And yeah, we represent the 80s. I want to give people more than that. I want to give them that old school melodic sound, but I want to make sure these lyrics mean something now.
Yes, and what you're saying rings so true for me because
Yeah.
it's a form of storytelling. You're telling a story that other people probably have lived as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And when people meet me, it's like, I get it. We're trying to better a lot of people in the music community, whether if that's especially, honestly, the fans of it. I have more problems with people that are in it, that are doing it for their own selfish motive. I realize it's like a gift and it could be taken away from me. Like, I'm not any better than anybody else just because I can write a good song. I mean, I'm like everybody. So like, if anything, I'm really flawed and I'm processing a lot of pain. So I know that people come to the shows or buy the albums. They just want an escape for a while. And I want to give them stuff that's going to help them with that. And I think that's what it comes down to. I don't want somebody to meet me and be like, oh, he blew me off at a show for a girl, or he this, or he just kind of walked the other way. No, let's talk. Let's spend some time together. Let's be human with each other.
Absolutely. Earlier you had mentioned the song with Johnny Lane. We should probably discuss that.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't realize the relationship that you had had with him. And
Yeah.
in listening to a couple of interviews, I really realized that you knew him as a person. So, do you want to share your story of like how you met him or what your relationship was like, and then
Yeah.
even meeting his wife, and now
Yeah.
they're both deceased. So, and then you formed a song out of even her passing.
I
So,
did.
there's two songs that we kind of need to discuss. So,
Yeah. I mean, we can get really deep if you're supernatural. I mean, I got a story that would blow your mind that I haven't told anybody. People are going to think Gion's crazy, but it actually happened. Let's get down on it. I mean, so I met Janie around 1998, 97, 98. I was like 17 years old. I was a huge Janie fan as a kid, and he was playing clubs. Strange enough, the same promoter that booked our show at the venue there was there that night. The same promoter. I'm like, you're the reason I met Janie. And he's like, I remember you were like a kid. I'm like, yeah, I'm here now. He's like, I'm proud of you. A guy named Joe Schultz, the promoter in Orange County. He's like, hey, I remember. So I met Janie because Joe had booked him at the time at multiple clubs in Orange County. And I would just go follow him. And Janie and I just became close friends. He would call me and we'd hang out and he would get me motivated. And yeah, man, it was so cool of him. So I fell out of touch with him. I moved out of Cali. And what happened was, I don't know, Janie and I just clicked. There was something about it. Like one night, he was playing a show, and there were a lot of people there. And I remember entering a room, and he was at the back of the room, and his head was kind of down, and he was kind of sad. And you had all these people hanging out, girls, and I walk in, and I'm kind of waiting for the room to clear down. And he kind of sees me. He goes, bro, come on, come over here, man, come on. And everybody's looking at me like, who is this punk kid that Janie likes hanging out with? Like maybe he knew those people were just there to kind of, I'm here rock and roll backstage. Me and Janie had that connection of friendship. And I will never forget that. The last time I saw him, he played a private party in Vegas. It was a solo show. It was weird. It was like I got invited. There was only like maybe 100 people there. It was at the Hard Rock Hotel, a place called The Joint. It was, I think they tore the hotel down now. So it was Janie Lane solo band, Jack Russell, gone also now. I think it was him solo. I don't remember if it was Great White. Maybe it was Great White. And the Bay City Rollers. What a bill. All together for some private party, and I got invited. And Janie and I spent some time together that last time I saw him. And the last thing I ever said to Janie, I put my arm around his shoulder and I go, you know what? I pray for you every night. Not like weird or demented, but I do. I always did. And he looks at me, goes, thank you so much, bro. And I remember him getting into an elevator, him looking up and just light coming down on his face. That's my last memory of Janie Lane. So flash forward to seeing him on the news, on TMZ, right before his passing. I had moved back to California, but we weren't talking. I just fell out of touch with him. And I saw his face on some of the things. Oh, I get emotional about it. Where he wasn't doing good. He was hitting parked cars. He did not look like he was doing well. And when I was a kid, when he would do his thing, just to clarify this, he would always not have me involved with his pain. And that's why I love him so much. And I told Jerry Dixon this. When I would hang out, he would be like, look, I'm going to go here or there. And he would bring a van or he would go drink or whatever he was doing in private. He never once said to me, have a drink, come do some drugs, come party with me. It was a personal thing where he didn't want to hurt this young fan. And I am always grateful to this day that he not once told me drink with him, get high with him, do something with him. He was protecting me. Whatever problem he had, it was in here with him. And he would never do something to hurt me. So for me, I can do nothing more but to honor him anytime I write a song. So we're going to get into the far out part. I don't know if this is even too far out for an interview, but let's just do it. You want to do it? And you can confirm this. My friend Jim Madonna, he's a radio show. I've done interviews with him. Jim went into a coma and he calls me. He gets out of the coma. He says, you might want to sit down for this. This was maybe a year ago, I think. Maybe a year and a half ago now. And I go, what's up? He goes, we need to talk. I go, let's talk. He goes, I came out of my coma and I was just like, man, dude, crazy. He has I think insulin problems and stuff like that, but blood sugar problems. And he goes, the doctors asked me, do I remember anything in my coma? And he goes, yes, I do. I remember family and friends that they're no longer here around him. Like he couldn't place them out, but he could feel their spirit. And he says, you were there. I go, I was there. He goes, yes, you were there with Janie Lane and you guys were writing a song. I know it gets far out. You guys were writing a song together and Janie kept laughing at whatever jokes you were telling. You both had guitars and you were working on this song. And he's like, that's what I remember from my coma. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's pretty wild. So flash forward, this all happens within 6 months. This one, people are going to think I'm crazy, but it happened. Janie came to me in a dream one night. He came into me. Look, I believe in God. I believe in angels. I believe in that realm. He came to me I don't know, man, it's too far out to talk about.
Well,
But
I'm a professional psychic medium, so feel free.
so this isn't too far out?
No,
Okay.
that's what I do, so.
So he came to me like this in front of me. And when you're in the dream and it's real, I was just like, what? And he came to me, but his hair was down here. He looked wonderful. Maybe like around dog eat dog era. He just looked really healthy and happy and restored and great. I'm like, Janie? He's like, hey man, he's like, I'm here. And I'm like, what happened to you? Because that's the first thing, like, what happened? And he just looks at me and he goes, things just got really bad for me. And my response was, as my friend, how much I miss him. Okay. He looks at me and goes, I'm never leaving you again. Don't worry about it. I'm always here with you. And I woke up and I was just like, what the heck? Like, it was too real to not, it was too real. It was like a real conversation. So a few months later, I'm at NAMM. I met Jerry Dixon once when I was a kid, backstage for a few minutes. That's it. I'm talking with Todd Howarth at the last NAMM because we played an acoustic set inside the convention center. And I looked to the side of my eye and Jerry Dixon's getting a sandwich. And I go, Todd, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. So I go, look, you got 5 minutes just to talk to me. I show him I got a tattoo, I have a Janie Lane tattoo of his like dragons that he used to have running up. So I got one here and has Janie's initials, like, that's cool. And we talked and I told him what I was doing at Frontiers. And I can't believe I told you about that dream. I've never told anybody about that before. Anyways, we exchanged numbers. We talked a little and I kind of left it like that. Okay. Like I didn't want to push it too much. I just said, check out some of my songs sometime. And then like a month or two later, swear, the Rainbow had their backyard bash. Something inside me said, show up early. So I go to the Viper room. Joe Hoekstra, I think, was there working on a video. I went and checked it out. I walk out of the Viper room, and this is before the show. It was like early in the day. So you have the Whiskey A Go-Go going Sunset Strip this way, and I'm crossing to the Viper room. Right underneath the Whiskey A Go-Go sign, me and Jerry Dixon, right again, at the same time. And he goes, this is a Janie thing. I'm like, it's gotta be. Like, you can't ignore it anymore. And he goes, what is your number? I'm saving it right now. It's like 714 something, right? Or whatever it was at the time. I go, yes. So we save it. I go, look, I'm gonna resend you some songs. And we hung out that day, me and Jerry. And I sent him, strange enough, the new Giant song that I did, A Night to Remember, and The Pain of Goodbye from Clean Break, which is written about Janie and his wife, Kim. I became friends with Kim after Janie's passing. We're really digging down on this. When Janie died, I did the final cover for his last song called Sin at my college with another person there. It kind of fell into my lap. It has the heart, not the heart, the roses with the blood. Anyways, so see all these connections with Janie keep coming to me. And then when I met Kim, I helped her through his passing. Like, I helped her through a lot of it. We would talk. She was here in Redondo, and we talked a lot. And then she went back, I believe, to Texas. Now, the strange thing is, I had been fighting. Am I rambling for too long? We all right?
No, you're good.
So I had wanted to be with Frontiers Music since Face Edge, and the opportunity for me became available to write for Frontiers Music. Alessandro Del Vecchio said, look, we want you on board, but we want you to start writing for artists and working with the artist at Frontiers. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So they told me to write something and just go for it. Like, what would you bring to the Frontiers Music team? A lot of pressure because I didn't know who I was writing for. So I go home to start working on the song. I open up my laptop and an article comes up, Kimberly Nash Lane dead in car accident. So Kim dies, and now I got to write this song for Frontiers. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I write this song called The Pain of Goodbye. Immediately, it just all came to me. It's about her and Janie and me meeting them, and now they're both gone. And what she used to tell me, how she was kind of haunted that she couldn't save him. But I mean, that song might be my favorite song I've ever written when I look back on all my material. I sent it to Frontiers. They're like, this is it. I didn't tell them what it was about. I just sent it. They're like, this is why we want you here. And they placed it on Clean Break's debut, which did very well. They gave me another song on the debut. I did 3 on the follow-up. So Janie and Kim are responsible for me getting my songwriting deal. So if you believe in angels or you don't believe in angels or spiritual connection, it seems like Janie is somewhere here in my life still. I mean, you can't deny all these things. And then,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
Jerry hears that song and Giant, I think, and maybe I sent him Macaulay, I'm not sure. But I know I sent Giant and that song. And then he goes, look, man, Janie has a song that him and I co-wrote. He never finished before he passed. We hadn't been able to get it done. Let me find it. I'm like, dude, don't mess with me. Like, I would love to do it. And then he found it. He sent it. I finished it in an hour, and I actually sang it right here. I have a portable studio. I love recording in my car. Send it back, and it's done. We just don't know where it's being placed right now. It's gonna come out. Frontiers loves it. Jerry loves it, and David Julian, my writing partner that I work with now, did a great job on it with us. I'm just waiting to hear who's going to release it. It's done, though. It's finished. And I used Janie's original title. It's called 12th of Never. I asked Jerry, what the heck is 12th of Never? And he goes, well, whenever Janie would want to co-write a song, he'd say, 12th of Never. 12th of never, meaning like a date that might never, like one day, one day. So I kept that and I did research. It's an old song from, I think, the 60s or 50s. It also stands for eternity. So the lyrics of 12th of Never that I did are about his connection to music, the fans, and the songs that will live forever. It's a great song. It's a ballad. It's like the bitter pill from Dog Eat Dog meets Heaven meets I Saw Red meets Sometimes She Cries. It's probably my top 5 songs that I've ever worked on. And it was easy. Like Janie left me a treasure map. I just needed to finish it. And I did. So there's my Janie Lane story. I know that's a big block, but
No, but it's beautiful though. And with the way you described the dream that you had with him, that's what we call a visitation.
okay.
Because you actually felt like you had had that exchange with him and that it was very real. So that's what the difference between a visitation and an actual dream. And that the parting words he tells you are that he's never going to leave you. And then after having that dream, all these connections occur. So it was like his way of saying, like, okay, he's laying the path for you in some way. It's really
You,
beautiful.
it is. It's very nice. Speaking of, what's weird? I'm doing this because right now, out of nowhere, there's a light gleaming into my left eye, and I have to block it out. It's like right now, as we're done talking about that. That's crazy. Okay.
Wow.
Real.
Wow.
So, yeah,
So
pretty amazing
the
stuff.
two
I'm always
songs,
grateful.
yeah, the songs are different, and one song is about both of them, and
The Pain of Goodbye,
yeah,
yes.
and the other song is really the song that he was writing. Out of the two, what would you say that makes them somewhat different? Because we haven't heard them yet. So if
Well,
you,
no, the other one's out. The other one
oh,
got released on Clean Break 1. It's called The Pain of Goodbye. I think it's track 8. And what happened with that song is when it got released, Michael Sweet heard it, and then I got the gig with Sweet and Lynch. That song is what got me the Sweet and Lynch. Michael got in my car. I was working with him on a music video for Frontiers, and Robert Sweet had mentioned about my writing or something. He's like, I want to hear it. Lisa Sweet was in the back. Michael was right here. I'm like, oh, no pressure at all. I'm like, dude, I got to show you this right now. He's like, come on. And Lisa Sweet's like, come on, Gian, show us the song. And I showed him it. And Michael Sweet called me when he got home and said, hey, man, we need to talk about your writing. And he brought me into Sweet and Lynch 3, Heart and Sacrifice, and I co-wrote the whole thing. Then I did Soul Driver with Michael Sweet and Alessandro. Then Lynch was impressed with my work on Heart and Sacrifice. He didn't know it was me until later. Michael just said, I'm bringing in somebody to help us with some of the stuff. And then I got the Lynch Mob, and then the next Lynch Mob, and then it just developed. That song, The Pain of Goodbye, has really that song brought everything else that happened to me. Everything. So it's kind of like Janie and Kim just went, we're with you. We got you. I believe that.
I believe that too, especially for the fact that Janie wasn't just a musician, he also was writing music. And it's almost like his mission is going to be completed with the help of you. It's kind of interesting.
It's pretty wild, right? Because I did
Yeah.
complete that song. And it's weird. It only took me an hour to finish the song. I heard everything. It came to me. We made a couple tweaks, Jerry and I, at the end, but it was just like, I actually wrote it at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. I'm like, let me go somewhere very LA for Janie. I sat at the table, kept his title, listened to it, bam, 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 parked on Sunset Boulevard, got in this car, sang it, sent it, and David Julian and I added things and more guitars. It was weird because David had to go in there and remove a couple things, but Janie and Jerry's originally playing from the demo was in there. Like Janie's old program drums, we had to update them a little because it was dated Christmas of '09 or '08. I think it was going to be for Warrant, the song. I don't think it was going to be for solo stuff because that's when he kind of came back and then left. So I'm guessing it was for Warrant. But yeah, it was just once the song was done, I almost felt a presence leave me. It was very interesting. So for you people that don't believe in stuff, believe it's important. As long as it's good and positive and nothing dark and evil, if it's angelic and God and the Lord, I'm all for it, So yeah,
Yes.
so Janie, I feel like he's still here with us. Pretty deep conversation right there.
Yes. So just circling back, bringing up Jeannie again, but when you listen to all of the body of music that he was involved in, what is the one song that you go back and say, that's my song with him? Like that you really remember him performing or that you can
Oh God,
see.
so many.
Yeah, but I always pull out one and be like, that's the one. Like, so either maybe something that he would have said to you, like that was one of his favorite songs.
Mr. Rainmaker's always going to be one. But the song to me, and he didn't write this song, when I hear it, reminds me of him. When he would do these club gigs, he used to play a song called A Million Miles Away. Cause I'm a million miles. Sorry, I better check my pitch. And I'm a million miles away, and there ain't nothing that can bring me back today. He used to play that in concert with his solo band.
Wow.
I just don't see any reason why, if he were here today, him and I wouldn't be working together. He would make perfect sense.
Absolutely. So going forward, what are the things that you have as dreams for the future?
Just to keep it going. What's about to happen is the most albums I've ever been involved with. So my record was 3 a year. Last year I did Giant, Ron McCulley, and Lynch Mop's Dancing with the Devil. I didn't title that. Um, but the other year before, previous to that, was Lynch Mob Babylon, Soul Driver with Michael Sweet and Sweet and Lynch. So upcoming, it's like 6 or 7 albums I've worked on. So I have 2 with Nathan James from Iconic and Inglorious. He's my favorite singer of the new generation, period. The songs David and Julian and I cooked up for him, to me, this is it. This is my moment. So those 2 albums are so important to me. I don't have the release dates yet. I know one's coming out this year. I'm hoping both will actually come out this year. That's the hope. I got 7 or 8 songs on both of them. And then I think Alessandro wrote the others, Delvecchio. We talked the other day. I know he's got a couple on him. But David Julian, it's like everything I loved about 80s rock radio. Anything from Richard Marx to Bryan Adams to The Cure to like Michael Bolton. It's all on these solo albums. So to me, with Nathan's voice, have you heard Nathan's voice?
Yes.
It's not even, I apologize. Nathan James is so good that I had to apologize. I go, look, don't judge me. Like, I'm all right. But Nathan James is like, how do you even touch that type of voice? Like, I was embarrassed for myself. One song, I felt a little hoarse. I'm like, look, dude, just don't. He's like, you're great. What are you talking about? I'm like, all right, Nathan. So to have him on these songs on 2 albums, it's going to be amazing. So I got those. I wrote another song with David, which is amazing ballad for Zach Stevens from Savatage. He's got a band with Aldo at Frontiers called Archangel. This song, great. I just finished, almost done with Lorraine Lewis, Femme Fatale. We're wrapping up a song. Steve Brown from Tricksters, like, come on in, join us, because she's already released some songs for the album. David already worked on those, and they brought me in, like, because Lorraine had heard my work and liked it and said, could you come write with us too? I'm like, well, let's talk to Steve Brown. And Steve Brown's like, so that should be done, I'm hoping, within the month. She already has the top lines done. I actually see, for example, on that, I didn't do the top line. I did the guitars with David. So if you need me for guitars, I can just do guitars and stuff. So that, I would hope, comes out this year. We'll see. There's another band called Applehead that Mark Slaughter's bass player is in. And for a solo band, he reached out to me, helped them with a couple songs. There's a Rat tribute album that's coming out. I'm me on it, doing my lead vocals with Danger Danger's bass player, Bruno. Eric Ferrantino's from Stephen Piercy's solo band. Oh, Jordan from Slaughter is on drums on one of the songs. I can't even keep up with it.
Very exciting stuff that's happening for you. So we're going to roll out the interview with your song from Giant, A Night to Remember. But I just want you to plug your social media and let people know how they can get in contact with you and how they can see all of your talent.
Any social media, Giancarlo Songs, for both Insta and Facebook. And you could just Google me, because I have Faith's Edge. There's a ton of my stuff from my band there, but now I've built up a good enough history of songwriting where you could just Google my name, Giancarlo Floridia, and find songs on YouTube. So if you just Google me, now it kind of all lines up where you can listen to my music or find out more about me.
Very good. Well, I don't know if I should make a prediction, but I think your music belongs in movies.
That would be cool. I'm
So I'm putting that out there into the universe.
Oh, speaking of not movies, you know what? That's the other. I knew I was forgetting something. Lynch Mobs. Well, technically it is a movie, I guess. A DVD. Blu-ray's coming out this year for sure with Lynch Mob. And I co-wrote 2 songs from Babylon that made it. That will be on that album. So technically it's going to be on a DVD. That's a start. So that comes out too. See, I lose track lately.
Wow, very cool. Well, thank you again, and I wish you all the best. And it's so fun to see you live. So I'm going to be following you on all your upcoming events.
Yes, come out next year.
Yes,
and I'll scream it. I'll scream again.
No, it was really great. Awesome. So we're going to roll out with Giant, A Night to Remember. Thank you again for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
About you, I could not forget the things that we've been through. All the memories, the things that we said, I could never really get us to mend. We were enemies, full of prejudice. That's the way that things will always remain. Every day I try. Let
You have been listening to Bringing the Darkness to the Light with Catherine Nadal, professional psychic medium, Dream Central Station, LLC. My audio editor is Al Hemberger at the Loft Recording Studios in Bronxville, New York. This is WNEW 102.7 FM radio.